One in three fast food customers say they regret their order before the last bite even hits the tray. Have you ever felt that? You walk in hungry, maybe even excited, but what you get is a soggy, overpriced mess that makes you question every bite. You trusted the brand, the logo, the commercials, the nostalgia, and still ended up with something that tasted like it was cooked yesterday and priced like it's gourmet. And here's the worst part. It's not just bad luck, it's a pattern. Because KFC, as iconic as it is, has 7 specific menu items that insiders, the people who actually work there, say you should absolutely never order. We're talking about dry tenders, sodium bombs, and sides that barely qualify as food. And wait until you hear what's at on 1. It's so bad, some employees say they wouldn't eat it if it was free. So let me ask you, if you knew what not to order before wasting your money, wouldn't you want the list? Stay with me, because once you hear what made this countdown, you'll never look at that menu the same way again. 7. Extra crispy tenders. A mom in Ohio thought she was playing it safe. Quick stop at KFC, grab a box of extra crispy tenders for her kid, and call it dinner. But 2 bites in, her 8-year-old pushed the box away with that face kids make when something tastes worse than it looks. Too dry, too greasy, and definitely not worth it. And let's be honest, if a kid turns down fried chicken, that says everything. That moment alone should be enough to make any smart shopper pause, and she's not alone. This exact scenario plays out thousands of times a day across the country. People trust the word crispy to mean fresh, golden, satisfying. But instead, they get disappointment wrapped in breading. Here's what most people don't see. These tenders often sit under heat lamps for far too long. That crispy coating? It turns into a thick, greasy armor. And the chicken inside? Drier than a desert road in July. You're biting into something that feels more like fried regret than real food. Employees have a nickname for them: gravel sticks. One said, they're either crunchy like gravel or soggy like napkins in soup. There's no in between. And the price? You're not just overpaying for a bad bite. You're spending premium dollars on leftovers disguised as fresh. That's not fast food, that's fast disappointment. Want the same flavor hit without the chew toy texture? Stick with the original recipe. It's juicier, better balanced, and actually tastes like it was made for humans, not for reheating. Not everything that sounds crispy is worth the crunch, and this one proves it. 6. Secret recipe fries. They've got the name. They've got the look. Golden, seasoned, stacked high in the promo photos. The kind of fries that make your brain think comfort, crunch, satisfaction. But behind that glossy surface? Something a lot less appetizing. Because once they leave the fryer, the story changes fast. And not in your favor. What you actually get, more times than not, is fries dropped in old oil, pulled from lukewarm baskets and tossed onto your tray half ready, half sad. Give them 5 minutes and they go limp, soggy, and weirdly chewy. That moment you reach for one, expecting crispness, and instead it bends like a wet paper straw? That's the taste of regret with a side of disappointment. Employees are blunt about it. Unless you're catching a batch straight from the fryer, you're better off passing altogether. This one's sneaky, said a former cashier. People think they're getting a crispy treat. They're not. We'd serve them just because the customer didn't know any better. And let's be real. If something as basic as fries can't deliver consistency, it's a sign smarter move. Ditch the hype and grab the mashed potatoes instead. They're hotter, hold better, and don't depend on fryer luck. In a place known for bold flavors, limp fries shouldn't be part of your order, no matter how good the name sounds. 5. Chicken pot pie. Wait until you hear this. Nearly 28% of surveyed KFC customers ranked this as the worst item on the entire menu. That's not just a bad review, that's nearly a third of people saying, I wish I'd never ordered this. And one employee shared a story that still makes people cringe. She once served a pot pie with bones still inside the filling. Imagine expecting comfort food and biting into that. That's not just gross, that's dangerous. And what makes it worse? This item is still pushed as a hearty option for families, seniors, and anyone looking for something warm and comforting. But what they're really getting is a shortcut meal stuffed with shortcuts. This isn't just about a bad batch. It's about what this item really is behind the scenes. You're not getting a freshly baked pie. You're getting a dense, microwaved mashup of old chicken scraps, a sauce that tastes more like canned glue, and a crust that's chewy in the middle and rubbery on the edges. It's the culinary equivalent of getting tricked by a warm handshake and realizing the person's wearing cold gloves. It looks homey. It feels safe, but it's a total bait and switch. And if you've ever taken one home thinking it'll be different this time, just remember, wishful thinking doesn't make the filling any better. Once you've been burned by it, you won't make that mistake again. And here's the worst part. It's priced like a specialty item. That's not value. That's overpaying for leftovers wrapped in nostalgia. Let that sink in, then skip it like your next regret. And if you think that's bad, keep watching, because it gets worse. Number 3 on this list isn't just disappointing, it's an actual health bomb. One that some customers say should come with a warning label. You won't believe what they're putting between those buns. 4. Famous Bowl. At first glance, it looks like the ultimate comfort combo. Mashed potatoes, sweet corn, crispy nuggets of fried chicken, all drowned in warm gravy and sprinkled with cheese. It's the kind of dish that whispers home-cooked and promises a cozy, filling meal in one go. But take a closer look, or worse, a few bites in, and the illusion falls apart fast. What starts out as comfort quickly turns into chaos. You're not eating a layered meal. You're digging through a soupy, gluey mess where every ingredient loses its identity in a sea of salt and mush. The flavor? Flat. The experience? Confusing. One customer nailed it, calling it everything from the menu dumped into one sad bowl. And they're not exaggerating. An employee even admitted, by the third bite, you can't tell what's what. It's just salt, soft, and sadness. The textures all blend into this bland, unchewable paste that starts off hot and ends up rubbery in minutes. It's like comfort food stripped of all comfort. Just heavy, shapeless filler. What should be a hearty favorite ends up feeling like cafeteria leftovers mashed together on autopilot. What's more frustrating is the illusion of value. On paper, it sounds like a steal. Chicken, sides, toppings, all in one bowl. But when flavor and texture both fall flat, what are you really paying for? You could toss yesterday's leftovers into a bowl at home and get something more satisfying, with a fraction of the sodium and none of the regret. If your idea of comfort includes taste, texture, and not feeling bloated afterward, skip the famous bowl. It's not a meal, it's a trap dressed in gravy. And your wallet, your stomach, and your blood pressure will thank you for walking away. 3. Double down. Sandwich 540 calories, 1,880 milligrams of sodium, and 0 bread. Because in this sandwich, the buns are actually 2 slabs of fried chicken. Let that sink in. This isn't lunch. It's a dare disguised as a meal. It's the kind of item you order when you're feeling bold, reckless, or maybe just curious enough to ignore your better judgment. But halfway through, the only thing you're proving is how fast you can go from hungry to uncomfortable. And once that grease hits your stomach, there's no turning back, only regret. Employees have seen it all. People ordering the double down like it's some kind of edible trophy. It's usually guys trying to prove a point, one worker laughed. They eat it, brag for 2 minutes, and then sit real still like they just ran a marathon. It's not indulgence, it's overload. You don't chew this thing, you survive it. And the worst part? By the time the guilt sets in, so does the chest tightness. That's not an exaggeration. It's real talk from real customers. One even joked it should come with a side of aspirin. And here's where the logic breaks. You're paying a premium price for something that doesn't even include bread, balance, or satisfaction. It's a shock value sandwich, heavy, greasy, and begging for a nap afterward. If you're chasing flavor and value, there are smarter, safer ways to enjoy chicken. But if you like this kind of breakdown, no fluff, no filter, hit that like button and subscribe to Frugal Daily. We dig deep into what's actually worth your money every week, and we'll always keep it real. Because saving smart isn't just about price, it's about avoiding the trap altogether. 2. Mac and cheese bowl. You'd think mac and cheese would be a no-fail comfort food. Creamy, cheesy, familiar. The kind of dish that instantly brings you back to childhood dinners and warm, easy meals. But at KFC, that bowl misses the mark on every level. What's supposed to be comforting turns into a gut punch of salt, density, and disappointment. Customers say it's overwhelmingly heavy and strangely underwhelming at the same time, like biting into a memory that's been microwaved one too many times. It promises home, but delivers heartburn. One customer summed it up perfectly. It's like a bad boxed mac, but somehow heavier. That says it all. The cheese doesn't melt, it congeals. It tastes more like thickened salt water than anything dairy. And the texture? Far from creamy, it's sticky, clumpy, borderline rubbery. The chicken on top, which should be the redeeming factor, only adds bulk, not flavor. like slapping fried guilt on an already exhausting bowl. It's the kind of meal you regret halfway through but feel too full to finish and too ashamed to continue. Visually, it still looks tempting, golden, loaded, cheesy, and that's where it traps you. Because once you lift the lid, you're met with reality. It's the food equivalent of being catfished, pretty in the promo, a letdown in person. And for the price, you could get a box of quality mac at the grocery store, cook it in 10 minutes, and still have enough cash left over for a drink and dessert. Unless your idea of comfort includes sodium spikes, disappointment, and the weight of instant regret, skip it. Spend your appetite and your money where it counts. 1. Coleslaw. This one stings a little because coleslaw should be the easiest win on the menu. It's supposed to be simple, fresh, tangy, crunchy, a cool, crisp contrast to all the heavy fried food. But KFC's version? It's a textbook example of how something basic can go so wrong. Employees don't even bother defending it anymore. They've nicknamed it sweet mayo soup. And honestly, they're being generous. It's more of a side dish in theory than an execution. What's tragic is that people order it thinking they're making the healthier choice. But when even the staff won't touch it, that says all you need to know. The cabbage? Limp and soggy, like it's been soaking in the back of the fridge for days. The flavor? Cloying. A weird, sugary tang that doesn't balance anything, just overwhelms. And the texture? Imagine chewing wet sugar paper. That's the closest comparison you'll find. It doesn't refresh your palate, it confuses it. One bite, and you're left wondering, was that supposed to be crunchy? The answer is no, not here. It misses on every level: taste, texture, and intention. Even visually, it shows up pale and lifeless in that little plastic cup, practically screaming, "I was made in bulk, not with care." Several employees have openly admitted they only serve it because people expect to see it on the menu, not because they'd actually recommend it. It's there out of habit, not quality. And that's the saddest part. You're spending money on nostalgia, not satisfaction. If you're reaching for coleslaw to lighten the meal, trust me, this one will only weigh it down. Sometimes even the classics deserve to be cut from the plate. And if a simple side dish can't get it right, what does that say about the rest? Which one hit you hardest? Was it the bone-in pot pie, pretending to be comfort food, the infamous salt-drenched bowl, or the coleslaw that tastes more like dessert gone wrong? Maybe it was the double down, that calorie bomb dressed as a dare, or those fries that lose their crunch before they hit your mouth. Ever ordered something from KFC, took one bite, and instantly felt that pang of regret? That moment when you realize you didn't just waste money, you wasted a craving? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one because chances are someone else has been right there with you. Same mistake, same disappointment. And don't even think about clicking away, because we're just warming up. The next video dives into another fast food minefield that's just as sneaky. Never buy these 10 McDonald's items, here's why. What's hiding behind that Happy Meal smile might surprise you. We're talking about overpriced flops, forgotten ingredients, and food that looks nothing like the commercial. If you care about where your dollars go and what ends up on your tray, you won't want to miss this one. This isn't about eating cheap. It's about eating smart. About calling out what's not worth your money, and finally knowing how to avoid the traps. So stick with Frugal Daily. We're here to help you eat better, shop smarter, and never fall for fast food fluff again.